Quantum entanglement. Allow me to elaborate. Alright, so by now we all know that the things that are seen are made by that which is not seen. That's called an atom. And we're just now in relative, like the last 70 years, that's a weird number, have developed and fine-tuned our instruments to be able to detect and then measure and observe this world that is unseen. And that's called quantum mechanics, which is wrapped up with a whole lot of quantum theory. So imagine that my fist is an atom, and as we zoom into this, it kind of disappears and becomes space. You can just go on and imagine that an atom is just a galaxy scaled down, for the purpose of this example. So we all know about the protons and the neutrons and the electrons from that Disney fairy tale public education they gave us. Chemistry's mundane and for nerds. Go play sports and entertain yourselves, cool kids. So we've zoomed in way past the surface of the atom. We're flying around in empty space mostly, and it looks like there's stars around for, if you're at that size. We're talking about particles. And you must zoom way in to see those particles. Those fundamental particles that make up the atoms, that make up the molecules, that make up the cells, that makes up everything. Well, they got names like up, down, charm, strange, beauty. They're called quarks. And so let's zoom all the way out to stars for a minute to talk about neutrinos. Neutrinos are tiny, 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 smaller than the particles. They come from the cores of stars. They bombard the Earth from every direction by the quadrillions, all the time. They can pass right through the empty space in your atoms without affecting anything. All the time they can do this. But if they should bump into something like a beauty quark, well, now that beauty quark will collapse into either a muon or an electron. Neutrinos from the cores of stars directly affecting everything in reality all the time. And now you could branch off to talk about how muons interact with RNA to produce DNA. In theory. But that's biogenesis, a very specific study. Anyway, back to quantum entanglement now. A group of those particles in any atom anywhere can be entangled with a group of particles in a different location. Space is irrelevant how far away it is. So that if these two groups of particles are entangled, despite how far apart they are, whatever happens to this one, the information will directly affect this one without it crossing the space in between. If something affects a group of particles 1 trillion miles away in a star, and they are quantum entangled with a group of particles on Earth, the result on Earth will be instant. Well, what does that mean? Well, I will tell you, and then you can investigate for yourself if you like. I recommend the Bible, if you want to know what you can actually do about any of this. Well, it turns out that astrology's true, and all the words that I've just used to describe this scenario have been changed to hide the fact that what we're talking about is spiritual. We ain't talking about physical anything. They tricked y'all with vocabulary. And now, little children, keep your hands from idols, lest ye be entangled with the powers and the principalities of the air, the celestial bodies of the second heaven.